Breaking news coming in at the moment of the top court's big verdict on child pornography. This is the Supreme Court that set aside the Madras High Court's decision. The Supreme Court has gone on to say that downloading child pornography on devices is an offence. The Supreme Court's a big verdict when it comes to child pornography, with the Supreme Court there saying that child pornography's offence is under the POCSO Act, and it's the Supreme Court which has directed the government to bring an ordinance in order to change the references when it comes to child pornography, and that it is a child sexually abusive material is what the Supreme Court has gone on to say. So as far as child pornography is concerned, as a child sexually abusive material, that is the directive that the Supreme Court is giving to the government to bring about ordinance in order to bring change when it comes to references in regard to child pornography, calling it this is an offence under the POCSO Act. Of course, this is a big verdict by the Supreme Court on child pornography. Downloading of child pornography on a device is an offence. That is what the Supreme Court has said, and this is setting aside the decision that was taken by the Madras High Court, and this is the top court's big decision, the big verdict that's coming about. This is a very huge verdict that has come out of the Supreme Court today as far as child pornography is concerned, saying that if you download child pornography on a device, now that is considered an offence that they are saying is going to be under the POCSO Act. So they are asking the government to bring about that ordinance in order to change the references when it comes to child pornography, and that this is something that the Supreme Court has gone on to say that any abusive material, child sexually abusive material, now in fact will be an offence. That is what the Supreme Court has dictated, that big huge verdict that has come about. And we have my colleague Mukesh joining us, Ashish Bhargav joining us to get us more on this. Ashish, take us through the proceedings in court.
It's a big and landmark judgment from Supreme Court. Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud headed this bench. Justice J.B. Pardiwala and Justice Manoj Mishra was another judge, a 3-judges bench. And today the landmark judgment came, and this Supreme Court now says downloading, watching child pornography is now offence under POCSO. Also, this is apart from creating and publishing and disseminating, which is already an offence. Also, Supreme Court says, but they have to, the person, the accused, has to prove there is no mens rea to spread it or anything which is means for personal gain. Also, Supreme Court now overruled, set aside the Madras High Court judgment on this, and the Supreme Court said that High Court committed grave error in ruling that downloading, watching is not an offence. Also, Supreme Court restores criminal proceeding against the man who was acquitted by the High Court, and now Supreme Court remand back this matter to the Session Court. Now, so this also Supreme Court asked central government to replace the word child pornography with child sexually abusive and exploitative material. Also, Supreme Court asked all the high courts and lower courts not to use child pornography henceforth. So it's a big landmark judgment by the Supreme Court. Although Supreme Court says this name, this word child pornography should not be used forthwith, and requested centre to bring an ordinance to replace this word. So it's a landmark judgment and overruled, set aside Madras High Court, which earlier said merely watching, downloading child pornography is not an offence under POCSO and IT Act.
Right, yes. Ashish, a very huge landmark judgment, like you pointed out, is downloading and watching child pornography is an offence under the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences, the POCSO Act. The Supreme Court has ruled today in that judgment on the stringent law to prevent child abuse. The bench of Chief Justice of India and others have now ordered that they have ruled that merely downloading and watching child pornography was not an offence under the POCSO Act. The Supreme Court noted that the High Court had committed an error in passing that judgment.